Did you know that insurance companies like to weasel out of claims? In fact, they would just like to deny them as much as they can. Well, if you didn't know that, now you do. And in this video, not only am I going to share that with you, I'm going to show you how you can avoid denied claims. Specifically, we're going to be getting in the sewage niche, okay? Here's the deal. If you own a restoration company and you want to help your client avoid denied claims, specifically from sewage backups, you don't want to miss this video. Let's go. All right, guys, so this video, man, it's gonna be a super good one. One of the things that I was always really passionate about when I was running my own restoration company was helping the customer avoid a crappy situation, right? Avoid an insurance denial. And I saw so many cases where the insurance company was just screwing over the customer, repeatedly over and over again. And so I learned how to protect my customer by avoiding denied claims. And I took a lot of pride in that and a lot of passion. So that's something that I teach my coaching clients now. And that's something I'm going to try and teach you in this video because I want you to be able to save Miss Jones from freaking Snake Farm, right? And so that's why I get so passionate about this. Now, some of the things that we're going to talk about in this video, what is the core distinction between a backup and a clog? And how do they go about denying the claim? And guys, just know this. The insurance company tries to weasel out of everything that they can. They try to weasel out of everything that they can. And so for that reason, videos like this that I'll cover today, I'm going to try and show you all different angles of what to do and then what not to do. And in many cases, you have been doing what you shouldn't be doing. And I know that your customer is doing what they shouldn't be doing, okay? I'm going to show you how to better guide them so they don't freaking put the noose around their neck and hang themselves. Because that's a lot of times what happens. A lot of the problems are going to be self-inflicted from the customer, right? So you want to protect your customer. Said differently, you don't want OJ to take the stand, okay? There's a reason why Johnny Cochran got the man out. The attorneys got to protect him or OJ don't go home. Same thing's gonna happen here. If you let your customer, you let your client blindly start talking to the adjuster or the insurance carrier, bro, they're gonna be asking them leading questions and they're just gonna put that noose right around their neck and it's gonna get the claim denied. Do not do that. In this video, I'll share with you a lot of the different ways to avoid that. We also talk about how you can frame things as sudden and accidental. A lot of times they like to use the word backup. We avoid the word backup and I show you how to look for and position towards sudden and accidental, right? They want leak over time. We want the opposite of that. We get into that too. And another thing, a lot of times we overshare. You guys, you wind up trying to find out what was the cause of loss. And bro, it doesn't matter what the cause of loss is. You go in there like you're Inspector Gadget trying to figure out what the problem is and what the root cause was. And then you're eventually going to find a claim denial. Don't do that, okay? You're there to help your client. If it's wet, you're going to get it dry. That's really it, okay? And so I'm going to share with you the idea or the concept of how I don't know what's going on right now. Should we stop mitigation? That should be the frame that you should do when you're running these claims, okay? It's not, I got to find out what's going on. I got to find out what went wrong because you're going to find out how they deny that claim. Don't do that. And I've seen so many people do that. Don't let that be you. All right, so before I cut the video and show you that, can I ask you a favor? If you guys like this content, please subscribe to the channel and give me a like, okay? And drop a comment down below. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Why? I'm curious. And then number two, it helps the algorithm show the video to more people. And I make a lot of these videos and that's why I do it. I want more people to see it. So if you would do that, I would be so grateful. So that being said, let's hop in.
Sewage backups. So we don't mention a sewage backup. And the reason why the sewage backup, the clause for the sewage backup is really typically this. Well, as the policies are written, normally a sewage backup is when sewage beyond the street. So if it's somebody else poops in your house, that's a sewage backup. When it's your poop, that's not a sewage backup. Does that make sense? And the reason why these matter is because we had these happen in Nashville where there will be something that goes wrong somewhere in the sanitary system, okay? And the poop will come out under pressure. It's a thing. And that's the reason why they put those caps there is because when you've got pressurized feces, I don't even have to tell you what this is going to look like. And it's just going to keep flowing and filling. Now, so what I'm trying to share with you is this. By the letter of the law, the sewage backup is supposed to apply to that. What they do is they say anything that comes out of anything is a sewage issue, and that's not true. That would be a clog. That is still sudden and accidental because one moment that thing was not clogged and one moment it was. So, and let's say it a little bit differently. Even if you had a tree root growing through a line, okay? A tree root growing through the line, they might say that's a sewage backup or that's wear and tear. That's not sudden and accidental. The idea is this. The sudden and accidental piece of that is when the sewage escaped the commode, that was the sudden moment that caused the loss. Until it escapes, there's no loss. The minute that it does, did it occur on purpose? Nope. For sure, nobody did that on purpose. That was sudden and accidental. So that's really what you're thinking about. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not telling you you're going to convince the adjuster of this. The scenario Robert was talking about with the electrical issue, that's probably an easier one to deploy. Okay, but I'm trying to help you guys think about it as well. Another example would be this: if you've got a pipe boot. Everybody's seen the pipe boot that's got like the fractures at the very top, okay? Water comes in, something like that. They could look at the pipe boot and say, that's wear and tear. Well, that's not the cause of loss. It's not wear and tear is not the cause of loss. It was the storm that created the water that was the cause of loss. That was the event, okay? So if we're going to go back and we're going to look at a leaky window or one where the caulk is failing around the window, the caulk deteriorating is not a cause of loss. The storm that brought the rain is the cause of loss. And why would it leak today? Because has it ever leaked before? No, today's the first day. Did that caulk shrink today at 2 o'clock? No, it's looked the way it's looked for years. Does that make sense? This is where the sudden and accidental thing comes in, okay? And while we're harping about denied claims, don't ever try to figure out what's going on. Like finding the source of water is not our problem and not our job. And when you try to be a detective, you oftentimes find yourself just kind of screwing your customer over, okay? And if there's water that made it from the second floor to the first floor, and we don't know exactly how or why it came over, I don't know what happened. I had a toddler upstairs. The next thing I know, there's water coming through my ceiling. That's enough. That's enough. My dang kids were doing something I don't know. I tried to get him to tell me, but he also poops in his pants. You know what I'm saying? They believe in the tooth fairy. Like, these are not credible witnesses. You understand? And so what I want to share with you is I don't know is a better answer than drilling down as deep as you can on the cause of loss. Unless you're in a scenario where Robert was earlier, and the only way to get out of this thing is to produce that. Does that make sense? But in that case, he was already in handcuffs. In this case, nobody's in handcuffs, but you delivering too much information will put your client in handcuffs. Another example, I'm going to need a plumber's report. I know you hear that a lot, right? Here's my question to you. Who said we called a plumber? Every time you get asked for a plumber's report, run that back. Who said we called a plumber? And eventually what you're going to find is it was either a homeowner saying too much or you saying too much, or you called the plumber too soon. You called the plumber to... So if you have sewage coming out of a commode, there's no reason to call the plumber right now. Are we clear? You call me because I'm going to suck it up and get it out of there. And when they say what caused it, if you have not called a plumber, I don't know is the best answer. And then you never call a plumber, but it's solved now. Because what happens is you call a plumber and then you've got that. And the next thing you do is like you are oversharing. Okay. Y'all seen how many people overshare on Facebook about their personal problems? You are oversharing about claim problems with this adjuster. And now that you've told them that you called a plumber, they're naturally going to say, well, what did they say? And next thing you know, here's your $10,000 sewage rider. Does that make sense? Don't clear the line. Don't clog the line. I don't know if the lines are clogged or clay. Nobody called a plumber to find out. Don't call the plumber. Does that make sense? You guys have everything that you need to do what you need to do at that moment. You've got a T to shut the water off, and you have a rigid pipe cutter and a sharp bite. You're now a plumber. Okay? Do not call a plumber beyond that. And if it's leaking right here, I might cut it out and cap it, and I throw it away. I don't produce evidence to the carrier. Does that make sense? I don't know what's trash and what's not trash. That's not my job. I'm telling you, if you keep delivering the valve or the gasket, you will eventually get something denied for carrier defect or misinstallation or wear and tear. Wear and tear on a shower valve.
Hey guys, real quick, in case you didn't know, I help people just like you grow and scale your water damage restoration business. If you are interested in me helping you grow and scale your company, go to workwithshane.com. We hop on a 15-minute call to see if we're a good fit. Workwithshane.com. Now, let's go back to the video.
I'll tell you, Robert, because we haven't shared this with you, but when we do our plumber breakfast, the cadence on the breakfast, the formula on the breakfast is this. You walk in, okay? You give them the freebies that you're going to give them, like whatever, the hand sanitizer, the headlamps, respirators, whatever you're going to give them. Thank them for their time. And then you're going, so do your standard thing, give them the consumables, step one. Step two, you want to shout out somebody out there in the crowd. Hey, where's Eric? Eric, we showed up, took care of Miss Jones. She loved you, went great. Is David in here? David, we did that. So you're giving them a shout out, one, to lift them up, and two, to show others that you're actively doing work and doing good work. Okay. So step one, give the stuff away. Step two, give the local shout out. Step three, tell them an anecdotal story, although I don't really know what anecdotal means, so I'm not going to say that. Just tell them a story, okay, of a similar situation, of something that you saw, like use Robert's story about the sump pump failure and it was really an electrical problem and this or that. And the story is this. Insurance companies have vested interest to pay as little as possible. The insurance process is very tricky. It's very sticky. For the love of all things good, never, ever let someone file a claim without having someone that is a professional in the insurance business walk them through on how to say it. Because if you say if instead of or and instead of when, your claim can and will be denied. And so here's my offering to you. If you or someone you know ever thinks they might have an insurance problem, do not let them file a claim. Give them my cell phone and have them call me. And that is your message to market on every single plumber breakfast. That's your message to market on Facebook Live. That's your message to market at a BNI. That is your message to market everywhere you go. Number one, because it works. And number two, because it's the truth. It is the truth. Okay. So at the plumber breakfast, if you don't already incorporate that, Robert, I would invite you to do that. I would always end on, here's something we saw recently. Don't ever make this mistake if you or someone you know or you care about. And the reason why this matters is this. There's a lot of plumbers that are too nervous or too scared to actually recommend you. They're too nervous or too scared to recommend you. But here's what's going to happen. That plumber's going to be working. He knows it's a leak. Wife is home. He's been working there for an hour and a half. Husband comes home. Hey, why's the plumber here? We had something leak. He's in there fixing it. Husband, I'm going to call and file a claim. And now the guy's too nervous to recommend the woman, but everybody loves saving people. Everybody loves helping people. And Billy was too nervous to recommend you, so he was underneath the cabinet. But the minute that he hears, I'm going to file a claim, Billy will stop what he's doing and say, hey, sir, I heard you say insurance. Just do this. Before you do that, call these guys and they'll walk you through it. And I'm telling you, there's a large percentage of plumbers or a measurable percentage of plumbers that will be too nervous to refer you, but they will happily jump out of that cabinet to save that person from getting screwed. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? And that's why you do that over and over and over again.
Guys, if you didn't already know, the two biggest problems you're going to have in owning a restoration company are this. Number one, getting consistent water damage jobs coming in the door. Number two, getting paid what you're worth for those water damage jobs. For that reason, I'm addressing both those problems with these videos to my left or right. On one side, it's about getting jobs. On the other side, it's about getting paid. Go over there, click the link. I'll see you in the next video.